It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming for Tuesday, April 22nd. I'm Wendy Corr, bringing you headlines from the Cowboy State Daily newsroom, brought to you by Wyoming Community Gas. The choice gas selection period ends on Wednesday, April 23rd. This is your opportunity to select your natural gas provider for the coming year. For more information, visit wyomingcommunitygas.org. The Wyoming National Guard base in Cheyenne has been chosen to host the biggest high-tech air tanker made by the Lockheed Martin Corporation, the C130J. Starting in 2028, the base will be home to 8 of the C130J tankers. Cowboy State Daily's Renee Jean reports that the move is being touted as a double win for Wyoming, both for the future of the military base and for fighting wildfires around the region.
The C130Hs that they had, they're kind of discontinued now. You can't really use them for missions anymore. And so giving this was a big deal. Without it, they couldn't continue their mission. And then it also helps boost firefighting capacity for Wyoming. These tankers are bigger, they're more precise, they're just better in every way. They're the cutting edge. And it's a big deal economically for Southeast Wyoming. The Air National Guard is a $325 million economic injection.
Among the upgrades, the crew complement requires 2 fewer people, making it a more efficient unit. That's key for the future of the Air National Guard base in Wyoming and does bring a welcome sense of job security for personnel at the base. The judge in the trial of a former award-winning foster father accused of sexually abusing his adopted and foster children tossed out 8 charges against Stephen Marler just as the trial is winding to a close. Judge Carrie Johnson dismissed 8 of 19 sexual abuse of a minor charges against Marler in a ruling signed Saturday. Cowboy State Daily's Dale Killingbeck reports that of the 11 counts remaining, 2 are charged in the first degree, 5 in the second degree, and 4 in the third degree. He also faces charges of battery and child endangerment.
Last week, the defense attorney for Stephen Marler asked the judge to acquit him on several charges because of the language that was used in the charging information. And he said that it did not conform to Wyoming state law when it came to sex charges because there has to be specific language for the specific degrees of sex charges, like first degree, second degree, third degree. The prosecutors had used the same language for first degree, second degree, and third degree. They didn't alter the language. And the judge said she had been warning them for the past year about that language. They didn't change it until they completed their case. And then after they presented their case in the trial, then the defense moved to eliminate these charges. So he now faces fewer sex charges.
Closing arguments in the case are expected Tuesday following a single expert witness who closed the case for the defense on Monday morning. Marler did not take the stand in his own defense. A retired judge specially assigned to review Wyoming's 2 newest abortion restrictions on Monday paused both laws during a lawsuit challenging them as unconstitutional. The most noteworthy facet of Judge Thomas Campbell's order for preliminary injunction is his treatment of abortion as a fundamental health care right. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that that's in keeping with a November order from another district court judge, Melissa Owens of Teton County.
Judge Campbell, who has been appointed to the case that's talking about ultrasound requirements, a waiting period, and surgical center requirements imposed on the abortion clinic, he issued a preliminary injunction on Monday, which essentially blocks the laws from going into effect while the case is going on. It's a noteworthy order because he goes full bore in agreement with Teton County District Court Judge Melissa Owens, who throughout her treatment of the big abortion bans that try to ban the process altogether, she's deemed abortion health care and a health care right. And Judge Campbell's order is very similar.
Campbell ruled that the pro-choice coalition is likely to win this legal challenge, but the case is ongoing. 2 formidable candidates with legitimate state party experience are challenging each other to be the next leader of the Wyoming Republican Party early next month. On Monday, Sheridan resident Brian Miller confirmed to Cowboy State Daily's Leah Wolfson that he'll be running for state chair. His opponent will be Jackson resident Rebecca Bextel, who announced her campaign last fall. Wolfson reports that although their conservative political views are almost identical, the two possess substantially different backgrounds and personalities. priorities.
He was the chairman of the Sheridan County Republican Party for about 7 years, and he also ran for a number of different offices, although he never won any of those races. Bextel is more of a newer face, and she's gotten very involved with the state party politics in a very short amount of time, raising an incredible amount of money for the state party, for different legislative candidates, and for President Donald Trump's campaign as well. They both have very similar political views. They're both very conservative. This is just kind of a matter of what kind of leadership style is the new chair going to have.
The election will happen at the May 3rd Central Committee meeting in Cody. And now let's take a look at today's weather with Cowboy State Daily meteorologist Don Day.
Truly, this will be a very spring-like weather pattern across the Cowboy State in the days ahead. While there won't be much happening today, mild temperatures, partly sunny skies, and only a few spotty late-day showers. As we get into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and possibly also for the weekend, we're going to see an increase in scattered shower and thunderstorm activity. A series of small but moist waves coming off the Pacific Northwest coast will come through the Rockies about every other day or so. These systems will trigger scattered showers and thunderstorms, and temperatures also for the second half of the week into the weekend will be trending cooler. We might even have a few strong thunderstorms out on the eastern plains Wednesday afternoon and evening.
You can get Don's full forecast on the Cowboy State Daily website. I'll be back in just 15 seconds with more news.
We're a company seeking to develop a rare earth element mine outside of Wheatland, Wyoming. Rare earth elements are magnet metals, an important industrial input in everything from your cell phone to an F-35 fighter jet. We're trying to bring a domestic supply online so that our country doesn't have to rely on China. Please visit our website at AmericanRareEarths.com.
A former Jackson Hole Fire EMS chief charged with numerous child sex crimes in Utah is now being sued by two girls who claim he sexually abused them and distributed nude photos of them online when they were younger than 7 and 5 years old. In Weber County, Utah, Ned Brady Hansen has been charged with 8 counts of aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor on claims that he was trafficking videos of young children nude and in sexual situations. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that after those charges were made public, 2 Utah girls sued Hansen for crimes against them.
This lawsuit complaint says that these girls were essentially groomed and photographed their entire early childhood, spans of 5 and 7 years respectively, and that they are now suing because photos of them have been disseminated online, allegedly, to which they couldn't possibly consent. He was at Jackson Hole, I believe, from like 2017 to 2022. He was the fire chief there. And this lawsuit complaint says that he started molesting one of the girls in 2018 through 2025 and another one of the girls in 2020, again through 2025. This would have placed him as the leader of Jackson Hole's fire department for a good chunk of that span.
Court documents also say Hansen was sexually involved with a local judge, Kevin Christensen, who released him from jail against the wishes of law enforcement in January. A black fox with smatterings of white and silver in its fur was hanging out in plain sight last week near Yellowstone National Park's Old Faithful Geyser. A wildlife photographer who also works in the park was able to snap some impressive photographs before it dashed back into the timber and out of sight. Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines did some research and found that the fox's coloring is probably the result of a condition called melanism.
If you think of albinism or albino animals on one side of the scale, that's the condition that can turn them white, and sometimes they have red eyes. Melanism is just kind of the same, but opposite. It turns animals unusually dark. It's not to confuse with animals that, like some horses, are naturally black. It's just a natural occurrence. It happens. They are extremely rare, but they're out there. They appear to be healthy. They're capable of reproducing. Of course, not all their offspring turn out black, but it's just kind of a cool anomaly, just kind of one of those things, variance in the way that nature uses her paintbrush sometimes.
A wildlife researcher says the red fox is known to exhibit several color phases, including black, silver, and cross. He said at higher elevations, most have a noticeable grayish cast to their fur, and there's some information suggesting that red foxes at high elevations in western North America form a distinct subspecies. Well, 13 police officers in Bosezeman, Montana were caught playing games on duty. But these games have caused the public to wonder whether or not innocent people were targeted to literally fill a bingo card. In Bosezeman, Crime Bingo had officers trying to mark off spots on their cards with things like arrest 3 people out of 1 car or team member hit on by arrestee. But Cowboy State Daily's David Madison reports that once this game was made public, Bosezeman Police Chief Jim Veltkamp insisted the rights of those stopped by officers were not violated as part of the game.
Those working in law enforcement certainly see a lot of idiosyncratic, strange situations. According to Sheriff Kozak, the Laramie County Sheriff, he told me he's seen these bingo cards used by law enforcement for the last 30 years. But in Bosezeman, Montana, where I live, it became a problem. Where they crossed the line, apparently, is that the bingo card had situations that could be manipulated in the moment. What if they really, under normal situations, would have just arrested 2 people, but they're playing bingo, and the bingo card says arrest 3, and they do that. The Bosezeman Police Department just now announced that they've done 3 separate investigations, and they believe that no injustice was served, that no cases were tainted by this good fun.
Chief Veltkamp said the game went on for 12 days until someone alerted command staff, who shut it down. 11 felony cases referred to the county attorney's office for prosecution involved defendants arrested during the bingo game. And there's a good chance Wyoming will see the northern lights on Tuesday evening. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Space Weather Prediction Center is monitoring activity from the latest surge of solar energy lighting up the night skies this week. Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi reports that while it might not be the best show this year, the lights are always worthwhile.
It's going to reach its peak visibility from Earth sometime between Tuesday and Wednesday night. So if you step outside around midnight, because that's the best window for viewing, you could see auroras, especially in the southern part of Wyoming. For whatever reason with this storm, the way the Earth's position and the way that this geomagnetic storm is manifesting, it's going to be more visible over southern Wyoming than it will be in northern Wyoming.
Conditions should be favorable for a good sighting. The moon will be less than 40% illuminated on Tuesday and Wednesday night, reducing the ambient light. NOAA recommends stepping outside Tuesday night between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the daily newsletter button on cowboystatedaily.com. And you can watch this newscast every day by clicking subscribe on our YouTube channel, or you can listen to us on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.